Hello, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your host, Aijaz Qureshi from Toronto, Canada, with today's great episode of the Aijaz Qureshi Show. I'm super duper excited that I have the honor to host a great friend of ours. She is such a wonderful person. We have been connected for long, but didn't have the opportunity to connect on the show. But today is that day, and I waited long for this day to come. But I'm really grateful and humble and obliged to this great person who is none other than Tracy Marshall. Tracy Marshall is a mental health advocate. She lives in Atlanta, Georgia, in USA. Great person. She herself is multifaceted personality, and she's the owner of her own media and entertainment company in the name of what? I'm missing that name here, but anyways, we'll figure it out. Tracy uses her platform to disseminate pertinent information to people through her channel, and she is the social activist. She's human activist. She is advocating for the variety of causes on her media channel, and that includes mainly on the mental health, because that is something very near and dear to our heart, and that is near and dear to our heart as well. As you know, that we our focus is on mental health and awareness of such things. And in relation to that, today's topic is mental health, and in the South Asian community, breaking down barriers, because there are so many taboos, so many barriers that South Asian people face when they either they're back home or they are somewhere out in the world, and still there are some mental health issues that need to be addressed and that need to be made aware of. So for this, we will definitely be talking to our esteemed guest, Tracy Marshall. Let's welcome our esteemed guest, Tracy Marshall, to the show. Good morning, good afternoon. How are you, Tracy?
Good morning, good afternoon. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for asking.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. It is an utmost honor and pleasure to host you on the show, Tracy. Thank you.
The honor is mine.
Great. So before we hop on the topic, I know that you're doing so many things related to mental health. You call yourself a health advocate as well, which is really great, amazing profession you are in. But before we head there, let me take you back to your childhood. What do you recall? 3, 4 years old, Tracy. What does come to your mind?
3, 4 years old was a long time ago to me.
I
Uh,
know. To me too,
Depends
exactly.
on how old you are. But great question. I don't remember a lot, but I was born and raised in the United States. But when I
Hmm.
was 6 years old, I did move to India for four
Okay.
years.
Oh,
So I've
wow.
actually lived in Hisar, Haryana area.
Okay.
And so, yeah, and then we came back a few years later and
That's in Punjab, right?
Haryana.
Haryana. Haryana is in Punjab.
Well,
Beautiful.
Haryana and Punjab were separated out, but I am Punjabi.
Oh, okay. Awesome. That's great. ਤੇ
Yeah.
ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈ ਜੀ।
ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰ
That's
ਠੇਠ
great.
ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲ ਸਕਦੀ।
ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ, ਖੈਰ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਠੇਠ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲ ਸਕਦਾ, ਐਵੇਂ ਹਲਕੀ ਫੁਲਕੀ ਮਾੜੀ ਜੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ,
ਚਲੋ
ਬਟ
ਸੇਮ ਸੇਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਫਿਰ।
ਹਾਂ ਸੇਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਬਿਲਕੁਲ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਕੁਝ ਕਮੈਂਟ ਵੀ ਆ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਜਨਾਬ, ਏਰਮ ਹਾਨੀ ਆ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ, ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਹੈਲੋ ਸਰ ਜੀ, ਹੈਲੋ ਜੀ, ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਨੇ, ਠੀਕ ਠਾਕ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ? ਰਾਣਾ ਸ਼ਕੀਲ ਅਸਦ ਲਾਹੌਰ ਤੋਂ ਆ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਜਨਾਬ, ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ अस्सलाम वालेकुम, वालेकुम सलाम जी, थैंक यू
वेरी
सो मच, सो
नाइस।
नाइस ऑफ यू, धन्यवाद जी। अच्छा जी, ग्रेट। तो आप 4 साल you spent in India and Haryana. How is that memory look like? I mean, what is the one thing that you miss from there?
Oh my God. You know, such a close-knit culture in
Yes,
South Asia in general.
yes,
It's like it's one big community, but when you come here, it's like everybody's their own little silo. So
that's
I
right.
would say that would be the main thing.
Huh. Okay, that would be the main thing. Yeah, we have little Italy, we have little India, we have little Pakistan, we have little Nepal, we have all these little things, but that's something really we should focus on. We should think about it. That we should be united here as well, and we should create the same culture. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So tell us about all this media, entertainment, event management, and all these great things that you do. You're connected with such wonderful people that really amaze me whenever you post pictures with such established and talented people that you work with. It's really awesome. How did you start that?
So back in about 2006,
Mm.
having an interest, of course, in music and dance. I used to play the violin when I was a kid, and I used to
Seriously?
dance. Yeah, yeah. So I
My
have some music
goodness.
in me.
Wow. Wow. Did you bring your violin today on the show or not?
You know what? I actually did. No, I'm just kidding. No. Hold on, let me get it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Go get it. anyways.
तो
So
या
yeah.
जो मेरा जो इंटरेस्ट है वो
Hmm.
डांस में और म्यूजिक में तो वो तो बचपन से ही शुरू हुआ and
Wow.
then after that I
So
just
what kind
started
of dance? Like classical dance, Kathak, and all these? Yeah, koi modern.
no Bharatnatyam, nothing that
Acha.
extravagant,
Okay.
just simple dancing, kind of like
Simple
the
dancing.
early Bollywood before they called it Bollywood dancing. There were
Acha.
other
ठीक है.
names for it. हाँ जी, हाँ
Okay.
जी.
Got it. ठीक है. That's good. That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
so
Hmm.
because I have an interest in performing arts, I
Hmm.
just suddenly, and I'm a music lover. I mean, we talk about mental health. To me,
Yeah.
my therapy is music. Okay.
Mine too.
So,
Mine too.
right?
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So because of all that, I just around me there was so much talent. I couldn't believe it. So I
Yeah.
started working with one or two artists, and the next thing I know I was throwing like concerts like once a month under Tracy Marshall Productions, and I was the only female promoter at the time.
Wow.
When I lived in Omaha, Nebraska, from the
Yeah.
Midwest, and I was taking one artist to the music studio to record a track, and the other person I was taking for voice or vocal lessons, and
Wow.
then so I just was
Omaha
working
is a
with.
beautiful place.
Oh my
Nebraska is
God.
whole. I
Oh my
mean,
God.
it's so beautiful. Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
because I was a one woman show, I had to
Yeah.
learn everything. I had to learn how to throw an event, how to promote it, how to MC it, how
True.
to line up your artists, how to make sure that their performance tracks are ready, and just lights, camera, hype man, MC,
Oh my
everything you got to
goodness.
do to throw a concert.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. It must have
And
been
I brought
fun,
that here to Georgia then.
and you are still doing that. That's great. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
doing that. Now, to be honest, between you and me, Tracy, the Tracy I know is a great photographer, and your clicks are such amazing. And this is how I got inspired by you, and we connected on 6th of February, 2018. So that has been over 2 years now, a little over 2 years. And I'm sure that 6th of February marks something important in your life as well as it does in my life, connecting with you.
Double hitter.
Double hitter, exactly.
Yes.
That's it.
So that leads us to the topic. So on
True.
February 6th of 2016, so I'm going in my 5th year, 4 years completed. Yes, I was one of the original members of the North Fulton County Mental Health Collaborative, which is an organization consisting of volunteers and stakeholders and people from a variety of different backgrounds who are coming together once a month to raise awareness about mental health. And so I'm proud to say that next February 6th would be 5 years of completion. Awesome. And so that's where my journey began. And it was nice because everyone was, like I said, coming in with different thoughts and frames of minds and just talking about mental health from their perspective. So that was a very, very nice thing to do and get involved with.
Awesome. That's great. So it's really, I think it's good for the community. It's good for everyone that you stepped into this kind of thing, which is really helping and saving lives, because the mental health is utmost of importance to everyone. And there are lots of things that we really, being Asian, being shy, being South Asian, our cultures are slightly different. We are not outspoken. We keep things to our chest. We don't let it go. Keep on doing that. So if we keep doing that, that impacts our brains, our minds, and sometimes we end up terribly in bad incidents that that leads to probably suicide as well. That's the last stage. All starts from anxiety, depression, stress, all these kind of things, and then it ends up really badly. So,
Yeah,
having said that,
exactly.
the mental health is really, really important, and you picked the right sector to really address,
Yeah.
especially. So, what inspired you to do that actually? Because you were doing this entertainment and media and photography and all these kind of things, and what made you? What was the single incident that happened in your life that made you uh, do this?
Excellent question. That's really a great question.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Viewers, we have not discussed any questions. This is all extempore, and you know that I don't do pre-set questions or anything with my guests. It's just they hear the question for the first time here on my show. So here we go.
Exactly. I love it. I love this format actually.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very
So what
friendly.
made you decide to go for mental health?
So when I moved from Georgia, or
Yeah,
excuse me, Nebraska to Georgia,
to Georgia.
yes, I decided to go back to college.
Yes.
Well, my master's degree. So I had
Okay.
already completed a bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad suggested, who was one of my role models, as is my
Yes.
mom,
Yes.
he recommended that I get into the health sciences field.
Okay.
And right, so I decided to get my master's degree after 25 years.
Wow.
So 25 years later, I decided to go back to college and get my graduate degree.
It's never too late,
And
as they say.
it's never too late. I mean,
Yeah.
you always have to continue to, grow and develop and
True.
continuously educate yourself. Always a
True.
student.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I chose the field of public health, master's
Okay.
in public health with a major
Wow.
in environmental health. And my thesis is
Environmental health.
actually,
Wow.
yes, yes.
That's great.
And my thesis centered around vitamin D deficiency as it relates to tuberculosis in the
Oh
African
my.
American community.
Yes. 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 That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so after I completed my master's degree, being always a student, I
Mm-hmm.
started and I completed half of the coursework required for a second master's degree in mental health counseling.
Wow.
And
You did
that's
double
where I
masters.
was,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, and I actually started the third one, but that's in
Third one too.
gerontology. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
I should have just went for my PhD. I have no idea what I was doing.
You should have
My
gone
dad
for
has two
PhD.
doctorate degrees and I can't get one, but that's
Exactly.
all right.
Yeah. It's okay. It's
Not
okay.
everyone can be a doctor like you now.
Thank you. That's
Kudos
amazing.
to you. So
Thank
the
you. Thank
mental health field actually exposed me on top of the public health field
you.
into looking at what we need to do to raise awareness, because on a personal level,
Hmm.
that's, I think, where it hits home, right?
Yes.
So I got divorced back in 2000,
Back in
and it's been
2000.
20 years.
20 years. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
since I've been divorced.
Wow.
And yeah, and so during that time, I decided to go back to college and just go back and pick up my master's degree.
Of course.
And I chose mental health and public health because I wanted to help others.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I myself had been through a traumatic
That
situation
was
of a
my question,
divorce.
because going through divorce
Ah,
is not easy, and you must have
nope,
gone yourself into those, leaps and bounds of mental health. And
yes,
oh my goodness, I know these divorces are really terrible incidents and happen. But again, everything, as they say, happens for good, betterment. So there must be something good for you, and for the other person as well. So
yeah. So I can help people who have maybe been through a same situation where
Yeah,
they're feeling a little bit lost, or,
exactly.
sometimes the woman blames in our culture, South Asian cultures,
True,
sometimes
true.
the woman is blamed, but it may not be the woman's fault, or
I
it's a little
know.
bit, right? It's a little bit tougher for a woman to be basically accepted back into society,
Yeah, yeah.
because you're not a couple anymore, you're alone. And so
Alone. That's right.
my
That's right.
circle is pretty small.
Yeah.
I pretty much am involved with a lot of my projects,
Yes.
and I have a small circle of friends. I usually,
Yes.
honestly, if you can see all my posts, I really admire and love and worship my
Your
parents.
circle is
So
not small, let me tell you, Tracy. Your circle is not small. If you call that small, that means my circle is zero. I mean, I have nothing. So,
nay, 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 nay. You are amazing. You have an amazing
Saima
following.
Kramat Ali is with us. She is from Neuchâtel, Switzerland, a great friend of ours. She has been connected for long, and she's a Corona
Oh, wow.
survivor.
No.
Yeah, she herself, she was moving from Lahore to Switzerland, and then on the way, on the flight, she caught corona. Her younger brother, caught corona as well, and then she has been, in isolation, difficult times. But I'm glad that she's now recovering and recovered, probably. Saying assalamu alaikum, walaikum assalam, Saima. Good to see you on the show. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions related to mental health or any those issues, Tracy is with us. Please do ask those questions for the betterment of yourself and others and ourselves. So thank you so much for hopping on the show. We have another great friend from New Jersey, Sabina Mahmood. She has been guest on my show as well. Great friend, amazing. She belongs to the entertainment field as well. Tracy. I'm not sure if you know Sabina, but she's an event manager, and she is a great friend. Great to see two awesome positive personalities. Thank you so much,
Wow.
Sabina. Uh,
Another double hitter.
another double hit, exactly. That's right. That's right. Great. So, uh, so you went through that difficult time, and you felt, actually, your heart felt, and then you decided to really help others so that they don't go through the same thing as you went through, and there should be some light at the end of the tunnel, because when these things happen, things fall apart. I mean, everything
Absolutely.
falls apart. No matter how you hit your better half or worst half, whatever you want to call them, but it has impact on life. I mean, it's a life-changing moment in the life, I guess. What would you say about it?
Absolutely. They talk about mental health having several components: emotional,
Yes,
psychological, and
yes,
social.
yes,
So
absolutely.
all of those areas are affected.
That's right. That's right. It must be hard. But you went for the education, you did that, and now you're helping the people. What about the
That's what it's all about, giving back to the community.
absolutely giving back to the community? That's really
Yes.
important. And Simon Kramatali is saying, listening, you Tracy, and I'm relating myself to you. Passed through lots of difficult, just stepping up now. I completely hear you, Saima. She has been through difficult times, Saima herself. She's in the same boat as you are, Tracy, and it ended up in divorce, and she is now recovering from that. And I know it's difficult times for everyone, so she can definitely relate to your side of things. So great,
Can I give her
Saima.
one advice, or may I?
Absolutely, please do. She's a
Okay.
great friend as you are.
Oh, thank
Absolutely,
you.
absolutely.
You're so flattering. We
Thank
appreciate
you,
you,
thank you, Tracy.
Anji.
ਤੁਸੀਂ
So,
ਕੀ advice ਦੇਣੀ ਹੈ?
yeah, मैं कहना चाहनी हूँ कि, it's like, when you're in a couple such a situation, right? Sometimes the woman makes the man their whole world,
Mm-hmm.
and more so than the other way. Okay.
Yes.
And so I realized that once I was no longer part of the couple,
Mm.
that it was time for me,
Mm.
and to rebuild myself and actually redirectionalize and transform how I thought, how I behaved,
Mm.
and what actions consequently I ended up taking. So going back to school being one,
Yes.
working on myself, and
Keeping
taking up my
yourself busy and
hobbies.
involved, and so that you can divert your energy into positive things rather than sitting at home and keep thinking about what happened to me, why it happened, and so things like that. Yeah,
You can't do that because that's actually very self-destructive as well. It's
exactly.
not right. You need to rebuild. You can't leave yourself in those pieces of,
Not at all. Not at
blocks.
all.
You
Not
have
at
to
all.
construct, right. You
Yes.
have to reconstruct and construct better and stronger,
Mm-hmm.
because you only have one life to live,
That's it.
and you
That's it.
you might as well enjoy it, embrace it, and
True.
take the negative energy and flip it. I always my One of my favorite sayings is to flip the script. You
Mm.
know, it is to just change it up a little bit
That's
and
it.
look at it from a different perspective.
That's it. That's
So
it.
rebuild yourself, young lady.
So yeah, so Sama Karamatali saying thanks. I was typing about great, great. Yes, so that's it. Thank you so much. She definitely needs the advice, and uh, keep hanging with us, Sama, and throughout the show, and
And
definitely
don't blame yourself.
and don't blame yourself. That is important. Never blame yourself. Whatever happens happens for a reason, and that's it.
Yes. And
So thank you.
self-love.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Thank you so much. Self-love is really the of utmost importance. Unless you love yourself, you cannot appreciate anybody else. So that's
Yeah, that leads
something.
into that ego we were talking about once before.
Exactly, exactly. That's right. That's right. So, what are the taboos in the Asian community? What are the barriers you see in Asian community, Tracy, as compared to the Western world or the Far Eastern world?
So the word is it, right? Honor.
हाँ, इज्जत सबसे
We
बड़ी,
have
जब इज्जत का सवाल है, हम बात नहीं करते, we don't talk, we ਅਸੀਂ ਦੱਸਦੇ नहीं किसी ਨੂੰ, we just keep it to ourselves, और उसी में घुलते रहते हैं, कुड़ते रहते हैं, मरते रहते हैं, अंदर ही अंदर मरते रहते हैं, every moment
uh,
we die inside,
exactly.
right?
So right, and the reason we hold that in is because we don't want to be associated with the next word, which is shame, right?
लोग क्या कहेंगे?
So
What
ah,
people will say about this
right.
thing? हाँ, बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल.
And then that leads to a third word, is the taboo, right?
Taboo,
That
yeah,
because of that, all of that, it's a taboo to talk about it. If
that's
you don't
right.
want to talk about is it, you don't want to talk about shram, it's
No,
a
not at all.
taboo.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's right. ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ
ਦੱਸਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ.
ਕਰਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ
Exactly.
ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਕਦੀ ਕਦੀ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਲਚਰ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੱਥ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਸ਼ਰਮ
Hmm.
ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਹਯਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਲੋਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਗੇ ਕਿ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਬੇਸ਼ਰਮ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਬੇਸ਼ਰਮ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿਉਂ ਕਹਿ
Uh,
ਰਿਹਾ why he is doing that ਜਾਂ why she is doing that अच्छा it's not only women actually it's everybody it's men
yes,
too men are in that situation too
absolutely.
right so
Yeah, I just
uh,
covered, I co-hosted a couple of radio shows not too long ago, and we
hmm,
talked about the impact of mental illnesses and challenges with men,
in
because
men
men
yes yeah
can very much also fall into prey, into this disease. And it's not
absolutely
a negative thing, but it's just, it's factual.
hmm hmm So, Tracy, I just want to understand, as I told in the intro, that this topic of mental health and mental awareness is near and dear to my heart, and I've done tons of shows on this with psychiatrists and psychologists and the Reiki masters and fourth dimension, masters, things like that. What are the early indicators of such things happening in the life? Especially, I think it's regardless of being a couple, being a married person, or single. I mean, these things, mental health can challenge singles as well at times, and it definitely challenges couples also. So, what are the early indicators that people should care about, and they can understand very early in the game that now they're going through, they're under stress, or they're having anxiety, or they're going into depression? What are those indicators?
So there are a lot of signs
Hmm.
that you can look for, especially, if you have a loved one that you suspect maybe, maybe suffering from maybe severe sadness, which can lead into depression. And like you said earlier, it can lead into anxiety and thoughts of suicide. So one of the things would be if the person talks about it, they just, they're talking about death, they're talking about suicide, they're feeling helpless, they're feeling hopeless, they're feeling extremely frustrated. They used to be participating in lots and lots of types of activities. They've stopped participating in their passions, right?
True.
They have isolated themselves. They're no longer engaging with their close friends. They pretty much possibly, example, locked themselves up in their room. They are not sleeping very well. The sleeping patterns are really disrupted. So where are the eating patterns? They either binge or they opposite. So you could either go either direction. Anger, mood swings. There are so many signs where people are no longer possessing the character or characteristics that they had before.
They are not. वो नहीं रहते जो वो थे पहले एक्चुअल में.
हाँ, वो जो पहला वाला था वो गया. हाँ, उसको वापस लेने का टाइम आ गया.
Exactly, to recoup, to recover yourself. At times बड़ा मुश्किल होता है feelings अपनी share करना लोगों के साथ. It's really hard to share the feelings with others.
There are several other pieces. If someone has experienced a trauma, maybe like a divorce or loss of loved one, and they just can't get over it, they don't have the coping skills, right? Coping skills are very important if you're going through a sad period of your life, and maybe you hurt, maybe you had a head injury, or maybe people are stigmatizing you. Like right now, the sad part is, if you hear that someone has COVID-19, the hype of the media is so exaggerated, but they don't realize that most people are going to be fine.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? But अगर किसी को पता लग गया कि उसको COVID-19 हो गया, कोरोना वायरस हो गया है, तो लोग कहते हैं उससे दूर रहना है. Well, you have to stay away from somebody who has a flu too. You don't want to catch another type of a coronavirus, right? These are all viruses.
Disease. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Usmena, but the main part I have to say, and I know it's a little bit off of what you asked me, but it's related, is the worst thing you can do is self-stigmatize yourself.
That's right. No,
right? If you say, hey, I have corona, I have COVID-19, कोई बात नहीं है, तो 14 दिन के बाद खत्म हो जाएगा, जो भी है, then you have already created a positive energy within yourself that will radiate outside.
Absolutely. That's great.
So another thing I wanted to add, I'm sorry, because there are so many triggers, right? So if it's like, for example, right now with the job losses or being furloughed, right? So don't look at that as, oh my God, everything's tumbling, right? Look at it as your opportunity, as I mentioned earlier about divorce, is to rebuild, redirect yourself.
Yes, create opportunities rather than waiting for the opportunity.
Yeah. There you go. An opportunity is only an opportunity, they say, if you seize it. So you have to also create and look for them, and then you have to act on them.
That's it. Acting at the right time is something that we should be doing. Thank you so much. And Saima has another comment saying, I did the same. I told to everyone I'm corona positive, but nothing would happen. That's great. That's a courage. That's a courage she had, and she had been positive all that time. And it's really amazing to see her journey from corona victim to corona survivor and recovering from that killer disease. It's really great. So thank you so much, Saima, for sharing your story. Aijaz Qureshi is our brother from Pakistan. He promotes peace for bicycle. So he travels up north to south, south to north on bicycles, and saying salam to you, my brother and sister. Sorry for late joining nowadays. I'm so busy to start my new project, making interlock breaks. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for hopping on the show, Aijaz Qureshi. Really appreciate your efforts. He rides bike promoting peace. That's something different. I mean, thousands of miles he has done. He's ridden bicycle. Amazing. Thank you. Great.
Absolutely.
So
Keep up the great work.
keep up the great work. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Tracy. So, in terms of being vocal, I think that's something not in a bad way, in a good way. We should be vocal. We should be raising our voice. Um, what would you say? How should we build that courage to speak out about the misery, about the pain, about the calamity within ourselves that we are facing, we are dealing with? और हम ये सोचते हैं कि okay, आज ऐसा हो सकता है, कल ठीक हो जाएगा. We give benefit of doubt all the time. We give benefit of doubt to ourselves and to others, to our better halves. What would you say?
So first of all, I'm going to answer that question by addressing what you said at the end.
Sure.
Unfortunately, in the South Asian community, we are told or encouraged not to disclose this information. So as you mentioned earlier, it builds up, right? So we keep it inside, huh? So having said that, to the next point related to that would be to admit that there is something that you need to seek attention for.
Yes.
So अगर आप admit कर सकते हो कि कुछ ठीक नहीं है, कुछ गड़बड़ है, तो फिर आप अच्छी तरह फिर वो counseling या friend के साथ बात कर सकते हैं, because it's very important. We are social animals, right? We need the company of others. We need that outlet. So second step would be to forget what society is saying you need to do, or this is the way you need to act because of izzat or sharam or taboo, jo bhi hai. You have to say, you know what? I want to admit my situation and I want to address it and I want to seek treatment.
Great.
Now, yes. I want to caution everybody. Treatment doesn't necessarily mean getting a prescription drug.
Exactly. Treatment could be getting an advice.
Psychotherapy. It could be right. It could be finding a few close people that you trust. I went through it's called trusted adult training as one of my pieces of continuing education, and it just taught us how to be a good listener to someone who has a situation, and you don't want to judge them. You want to listen. So going back to your question, is the person needs to find some trusted adults, open up to them. Now, if they are judging them and isolating themselves from you once they heard from you, then they're not a true friend.
Exactly. Then move on. Exactly.
Right. So you need to make sure you find the right people, because if you find the wrong people, it could actually be actually more destructive. Right.
Exactly. That's
right. Counterproductive. Exactly. So the next thing you need to do is, once you forget what people are pushing you to do, and once you start admitting, what you do have, and then you start seeking help, another way that I find that people can redirect their energy, we always talked about flipping the script and turning things positive, is to engage yourself in other activities. So again, I didn't mention this to you earlier, or maybe you did in my intro, but I'm very involved on a state level, the state of Georgia, with mental health, right?
Yes,
and they sponsor a lot of these, mini workshops or series where people are taught what to do with their time if they feel like they're suffering from depression. So you can put your depression into a form of art, creative art, whether you're drawing, writing a poem, or spoken word, or maybe you're working on an instrument, bringing out that violin again, things like that. So it's very important to redirect and funnel your energy into something that you've maybe wanted to do before, but you just haven't had a chance to, kind of get into it because you're so busy feeling sorry for yourself. So remember, people don't want to be around people who are always feeling sorry. No. God likes those of us who help ourselves too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So that we can help others. And that's the other point we can talk about, is if the person is feeling a little bit down and out, they can help others, because there are always others who are in a lesser quality of position, and giving to them is going to give you joy and pleasure. Like somebody who, like elderly people, They're
True.
very vulnerable. They can't get out. They're supposed to stay at home, right? Or
True.
shelter at home. But they need groceries. They need their pharmacy drugs picked up. So
That's right.
if अगर हम उनको help कर सकते हैं, तो वो फिर अंदर से वो खुशी आ जाती है कि मैंने किसी के लिए कुछ काम किया है.
बिल्कुल.
And
बिल्कुल.
and that builds you back up because we are social animals, not just to go out with, but to help each other and lift each other up.
True. Absolutely. Bilkul. And I don't know if you remember or not, Tracy, but as soon as this Corona thing hit in February, late February, March, I posted that I'm available to talk to anyone who is feeling any condition, any situation, or anything. My hotline is open. Just pick up the phone and call me, and I would hear you. And I'm always here as a sounding board for you to really contact me. And lots of people did actually, and I spent time with them and listening to them and really hearing their story. So yes, absolutely, sharing is caring. So actually, if you share your sorrows and your pain with others, that's actually you're caring about yourself. So that's really important
Absolutely. Very
to do.
therapeutic. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, mind ourself. I consider mind as a closet. You know, we keep putting things into the closet, keep filling and filling and filling, and the time comes that it's full. There's no more room in it, and things start falling out. You know, and if we don't let go, those things are precious things that we are keeping in that closet, then it's just it's a cluttered space actually, and mind is no different than that. And so we have to let things go, make them empty. Now coming back to advice from an MPH and master, double masters, right? How
One and a half with 9 hours towards a PhD.
That's exactly 9 hours towards a PhD. That's how I build up my next question, right, Tracy? What would you advise how to empty the mind from the past, the sorrows, the pain, painful moments that we keep hanging on to? We keep embracing those moments that we don't want to let go of those things. How can we let go or empty our mind closet to make room for new
question.
things?
Great question. Great question, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love it. So, uncluttering, your brain, removing some of the bad obstacles and thoughts and fears.
Without that, we cannot move forward, can we?
Huh? No, it's not bhara. No, you can't move.
Exactly.
So to me, I think that is, like you said earlier, you have to declutter or unclutter and actually replace with positive channeling energy, which probably is much less weight, right? So get rid of the heavy weights and bring in the light weights, but help yourself, actually exponentially grow. So the first advice I would give, besides decluttering and uncluttering, would be to get rid of the people who are bringing you down in your life.
Negative people who bring negativeness into your life, get rid of them. Yes.
How
do we identify?
Well, we identify because whenever you're around them, या तो वो जब उनको आपको पता है कि वो आ रहे हैं घर पे या ये तो नेगेटिव एनर्जी लेकर आएगा या लेकर आएगी, या तो वो I know he's going to pick on me or he's going to say something negative to me and मेरा सारा दिन खराब हो जाएगा, right?
खराब हो जाएगा, ठीक है.
So you don't want them to, because then
strike them off from your life.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, with all due respect, whether it's strangers, sometimes strangers can.
लेकिन अगर कोई क्लोज रिलेटिव है, आपके घर में ही कोई ऐसा आदमी है, आपकी फैमिली में कोई ऐसा आदमी है, इन लॉज हैं या कोई भी है, चारों तरफ लोग हैं ना, तो how to avoid them? How can you simply let them go from your life? You cannot.
So my mom has always, one of my gurus, she's always given me a great advice of, you can't change other people. You can only change yourself. And so having said that, sometimes you have to accept the fact that you can't change that person, because the person, according to my father, my other guru, has already developed their character or characteristics by the age of 12. So when you try to change somebody in their 40s or 50s or what have you, you can't do it. So what you need to do is you need to change yourself and say, you know what, I'm not going to let that comment bother me. वो तो ऐसे ही बात करता है, सबके साथ ऐसे ही है, right? Don't take it personal, right? वो भी ठीक बात है ना? तो तीसरी बात है कि just let them know you have a few errands you got to go do.
That's it.
And leave the house.
Just escape from there.
Get out of there.
Yes, exactly. Get out of there. We have a few more comments. Amber Huck is our great friend. She is a television host, Channel 52. She's doing amazing work. And saying, so good to see you back on Facebook. Thank you so much, Amber. Yeah, that was a transition I wanted to do for long, but I think this was the destiny. So I think this is where I belong, and this is where I should be. So some things happen, and I'm back on Facebook here. So just I'm forgetting about all these monetization on YouTube and everything. Is just moving on with Facebook. So that's it. Now I'm not going to go back. This is the last time I went to YouTube, and no matter what happens, I'm going to stick on Facebook. Thank you so much for your encouragement. Thank you. Aijaz Qureshi is saying, appreciate your efforts, sir, to promote great people in your social media. My sister, you're working. Good job. Thank you so much. Appreciate your comments, Aijaz. You're doing amazing. You're doing wonderful. Keep promoting peace. Keep doing it. And this is what we need, actually. This is the need at the time. And as I say, give peace a chance. That's my motto since day one on my social media. Give peace a chance. I mean, give it a chance, and magic will happen. Thank you. Ambarak is saying about your own family members who bring negativity. Then, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So just move on. अभी advice दी आपको Tracy ने कि just मुझे कुछ जरूरी काम याद आ गया, and then you just move on. That's it.
You know, in our culture too, you know, just to add to that is that, you know, we put so much emphasis on materialistic things and, you know, medical exam scores and मेरा बेटा ये है या मेरी बेटी ये है, पर वो सच नहीं बताते कि ये जो बेटी है जो बेटा है उनमें भी कुछ है, कोई कमी, कोई problems है, but we don't talk about that. We just talk about all the good things that we want other people to, or other individuals to see.
To admire.
To admire.
बिल्कुल. ठीक है.
Goes back to that isn't.
Aijaz Qureshi is saying, my 4 family members affected by Corona now. Okay. Oh, that's good news. That's good news. There was a bad news and good news. I did not know that you have 4 family members. Oh my goodness. But that's great. Thank God they're okay now. Good news. Thank you so much, Aijaz. Yes. And I'm sure that you fought with courage and all these. So hats off to you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
God bless you. Thank you. Great, Tracy. We have another segment on the show before we head down there. What would you like to add to the topic which you thought that we could talk about and we didn't talk about it yet?
So I think self-love is probably the most important, because I think if you start with your inner self and really appreciating your strengths and working on your weaknesses, I think that would be a great way to, as I mentioned earlier, you know, rebuild and retransform yourself, or transform yourself into somebody that you've always wanted to be. And forget about what others want you to do. You have to be thinking about you. You got to do you. You know, that's a common phrase. And I think once you realize that, you know, you are, you know, like, hey, I'm pretty good at this, you know, or, hey, you know what, I'm not that bad after all. Hey, I'm all right at this, you know. When you start patting your own back a little bit, it's okay to do that, right? So, right. So once you start having self-love, then that self-doubt will go away. The low self-esteem will go away. Because some people who have low self-esteem will दूसरों को खुश देखना नहीं चाहते, right? वो आप खुश नहीं है, right?
खुश नहीं है to bring them down too.
Right. So, you know, it's kind of has that vicious cycle, or I would call it more of a synergistic effect, right? Where 1 plus 1 doesn't actually equal 2. You can actually make it equal 4 because you've done so much damage. So I think that would be one of the main things. And the main point would be to say, it's okay not to be okay, right? It's okay to feel, maybe down, maybe you've lost your job, but it's not the end of the world. Think about all the people who are picking, different vegetation out of the agricultural sectors of the international scene. They're working 10, 12 hours a day, and you're complaining, oh, I lost 20% of income,
True.
So take that time, which would have been taxed anyway. So why don't you just look at what you can do now with the time that you have off, spend more quality time with your children.
True.
Don't say, oh, I want them to go back to school, and knowing that we're not possibly ready in some areas, just to say, well, mujhe unko help karna nahi aata. Ye studies mushkil hai mere liye. What's even going to be more mushkil is when they come back and they have some situation where you could have prevented. So spend time with your kids, spend time with your loved ones, your elderly parents, make sure you take care of them, your spouse, your siblings. And going back to what you said earlier, remove some of the negativity from your life, make room for positivity. And I think that's the main thing, is to declutter and really, really focus on you, self-love, and forget about what others are imposing on you, and do you.
Absolutely. And I'll expand on self-love as well after this comment. Ruby Pirzada with us. She's our great friend, relative living in London, UK. Saying salam alaikum salam. Rumi, thank you so much. Good topic and thumbs up. Thank you so much for your encouragement, and stay with us. Today we are talking about all mental health and all these kind of things. Self-love. Most of the time, we sway, we neglect ourselves based on certain factors, and regardless of being a man or a woman. Let's just start with a couple. They get married. First few days or a few weeks or months, the bride will put up new clothes, put new makeup, and every day, and she would be ready all the time. When she is viewed in the family, she's so pretty, she's so charming, attractive, and everything happens. As the time passes, they get a kid or two or three, then they start neglecting themselves, being busy in course of life, things like that. What do you suggest to them? I mean, shouldn't they be paying attention? And what about the self-love that they should be focusing on and not neglecting upon? What would you say?
I think you always have to keep that spice of life going, whether it's in a relationship, with your spouse, or even keeping your friends with you. You always want to, be encouraging, and just, take care of yourself. I mean, if you feel like for example, like, right now I have gotten myself ready, and I feel good because
Yes,
if you feel good because you took the time to make yourself look presentable, um, it shows, it carries,
absolutely.
through the airways or through the radio waves or the television, or in this case, Facebook. So it's very important to take care of yourself, and don't take your spouse for granted,
Exactly.
because there's too many beautiful women out there. There's so many handsome men out there. Someone's going to be always
That's the
getting someone's attention,
exactly. Yes.
no matter
So
what.
if you don't keep their attention towards you, it's a human tendency, it's the nature that they would get attracted to another attractive person.
So if your wife is telling you all the time, कि ये आप ये नहीं करते, वो नहीं करते, ये नहीं ठीक किया, वो नहीं ठीक किया, and then the
Just
girlfriend is saying, hey, वो जो भी है mistress है, जो friend है, potential mistress है, वो आप बड़े अच्छे हो, आप तो मेरे लिए ये हो वो, then well, you know what I mean? That's going to really have an outcome on what that person may end up doing.
exactly.
गलतियां हो रही हैं. And but if you want to try to prevent that from happening, the woman and the man, they need to pay attention to their other half, because Otherwise, the other half may look at another person, and that other half is not a half anymore. You know,
It's not exactly. This
mathematics.
you said very well. The other half is not a half anymore. That's right. That's
Right.
right.
And that was the first time I said that. It sounded pretty good.
Yeah, no, I know, I know, I know. As a being mental health advocate, you talk to people and things like that. What is the one topmost, utmost issue in marriages that you hear about? What is that one single issue?
Lack of communication and respect, if I may put that together.
Okay, yeah. So you should be vocal, you should be talking, you should be expressive, you should be expressing, telling your better halves that this is not going right. Here is the issue, here is the problem, talk it through and get it over, get it resolved and solve it and then move on because life is
चुपचाप
precious.
होने से कुछ नहीं होएगा.
चुप होने से कुछ नहीं होगा, बिल्कुल. बात करें, get it resolved, put it on the table and talk about it. That's it. Awesome. Great. Thank you so much for great advice and great topic today, Tracy. I really appreciate it. So I guess now let's move on to the segment, which is U and Q. In this segment, I'll give you, it's a rapid fire. It's on lighter note because we talk serious and then now we have to neutralize that. So I'll give you a word. Whatever comes to your mind after hearing that word, you can speak out. You can give me a response to a word, a sentence, or whatever you like. But it would be no time to think, and it's uncensored. That's the best thing.
Oh, okay, here we go.
So the first word is home. Ghar.
Home is your palace.
Alice, that's great. Chai, tea.
Comfort.
Comfort, great.
Comfort.
Hawa, air.
Life.
Life, great. Ghoda, horse.
Majestic.
Majestic, that's great. Pahad, mountain.
Adventurous.
Adventurous. Biryani. So.
No, I love biryani. But it has to be vegetables. I would say a comfort food.
Comfort food, that's good. Flower, pool.
Beauty of nature.
Beauty of nature, that's great. Chamcha, spoon.
The first word that comes to my mind on the chamcha would be beautiful dal, mulgatani soup.
Kya baat hai, dal soup, zabardast. The next word is friend, dost.
Partner.
Partner, kya baat hai, zabardast. Padosan, neighbor.
A mixed opinion on that.
Kare, bataएं.
बताऊं, approachable.
Approachable, ठीक है. और अभी तो मिक्स नहीं हुआ ना, अभी तो एक बात हुई.
अभी तो दूसरा हिस्सा चाहिए, right? अभी तो दूसरा half we have. वो दूसरा फिर opposite कहूंगी, unapproachable.
Unapproachable, अच्छा, ठीक है. मोहब्बत.
Wow. Amazing.
Amazing, क्या बात है. It's amazing feelings. उल्लू, owl.
Wisdom.
Wisdom, क्या बात है, जबरदस्त. कामयाबी, success.
At each person's own rate and speed.
Okay.
Own pace.
That's great. Kahani, story.
Never ending.
Never ending. That's great. Gadha, donkey.
I think of transportation.
Transportation, okay. Breath, sans.
Life.
Life, that's great. Samla, fair color.
Overrated.
Overrated. That in a good way or in a bad way?
I think all color of skin is beautiful. So that's what I mean by overrated.
Okay.
God's creation is already perfect.
Absolutely, absolutely. Kalam, pen.
Labor,
Labor, right? Saas, mother-in-law.
comforting,
Comforting. That's great. Sakoon, peace.
inevitable,
Inevitable. Great. Ruh, soul.
everlasting,
Everlasting. That's great. It doesn't die. That's good. Chalaki, cleverness.
no time for it,
No time for it. That's it. Sanjeedgi, seriousness.
very important,
Important. Great. Driver,
navigator,
navigator. Great. Dosti, friendship.
crucial,
Crucial. Important. That's great. Leader,
requiring followers,
requiring followers. Otherwise, that person is not a leader. That's it. Exactly. That's it. Boss,
ये तो मुश्किल है क्योंकि
हाँ
I've had a variety of different situations.
हाँ बताएं एक
Boss,
हाँ
I think boss is someone you look up to.
someone you look up to. Great.
Admiration, we'll use that word.
Yes, that's it. Let's use that word. That's it. Kala, black.
My favorite color to wear.
You're wearing today. There you go. That's good. The next word is waqt, time.
Embrace it.
Embrace it. That's
Enjoy
it.
the moment.
Enjoy the moment. Live in the moment. That's good.
Live in the moment even better. Maybe I should ask you the questions. I like your answer better.
Thank you. Next, last two words are, one of them is dil, heart.
Heart, dil,
जी.
lifeline.
Lifeline. That's it. बिल्कुल लाइफलाइन है अगर धड़क रहा है तो जिंदा है और अगर बंद हो गया then you're dead. That's it.
Exactly.
बिल्कुल जबरदस्त और लास्ट वर्ड है इंडिया.
Oh, wow. Jai Hind.
जैन. क्या बात है जबरदस्त. बहुत शुक्रिया. ये था हमारा सेगमेंट U&Q. I hope you liked it. Lots of people they like the show just because of this segment, because this is on a lighter note, and thank you so much for playing this, Tracy. There are a few comments. Let's take those comments as well. And Rumi Pirzada from UK is saying, spending quality time with family, good for our children, and communicate each other. Agreed. Nice topic. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. Spend quality time with the family, appreciate each other, appreciate the children, encourage them to do things, challenge them to doing different things, and communication is the key. Absolutely. Thank you so much for appreciation and kind words. And Sadaf Ibrahim is a great friend. She's also a TV host from Ottawa, Canada. My favorite part of the show. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. She likes U&Q as well. Sadaf, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Great. So this is time to conclude the show. We are on the dot for an hour, and let's conclude with your final comments on the topic, Tracy. What would you say?
So, first of all, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to talk about something that needs to be talked about. We need to talk about these real life situations, mental health, illnesses and diseases. They do not discriminate, regardless of your age, your gender, your socioeconomic status, your ethnicity, your race. It affects everyone. And it's up to you in many cases, how to recover or how to address and handle your mental health weaknesses or deficiencies. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to go through depression, feel extreme sadness due to loss of loved one or job or divorce, or, you know, just feeling like you don't really fit in. Those of us, myself included, I don't fit in to a lot of places. I mean, you're right. I do have a pretty good base of Facebook, as my son puts it, acquaintances, not necessarily friends as much. But, you know, it's important to, as we mentioned earlier, circle back around to self-love. And next is to not worry about what other people are you know, instilling in you or wanting you to do. It's okay to be you. And if you do have a situation where you are feeling like, you know, you're feeling hopeless or helpless, suicidal, what have you, there are a lot of suicidal, substance abuse, domestic abuse, um, bullying, you know, type. Bullying is another piece, you know, we didn't touch upon, but people can go through depression and anxiety and lead into suicide by also, you know, being a victim of bullying, which I've talked about as well on a couple of shows. So it's very important just to really come to grip with yourself and just, you know, let yourself know it's okay, you know. But if you really, really, really feel that you need to talk to somebody, which you should do, find those trusted adults that I was talking about.
Correct.
And find those people who are going to be supporting you and not further bringing you down. That's very important.
Exactly.
And the other
That's it.
piece है कि वो जो लोग हैं जो आपको तंग करते हैं या कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करते हैं या आपको नीचे दबाते रहते हैं, उनसे थोड़ा सा छुट्टी ले लो. It's
No.
okay.
Yes.
To them, it doesn't matter if you're there or not anyway. So why
Yeah.
don't you just pull yourself out of the situation?
That's
That
it.
way you have your peace of mind. So I would say to everybody, be strong. You know, don't feel depressed right now. These are times of unrest. Right now, we don't know who to believe, what to believe. So many people चारों तरफ से ये कह रहे हैं, वो कह रहे हैं, mask डालो, mask नहीं डालो. Mask
बिल्कुल
डालना जरूरी है, okay?
बिल्कुल मास्क डालना जरूरी
Believe
है.
me, okay? Because you're protecting yourself and you're protecting the other person. And so please, now the gloves are iffy because of cross-contamination. You don't have a master's in public health. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to add that in there at the end. And let's take care of our elderly, okay?
Yes.
So don't just give them a DVD and let them go while you're out. Bring them with you.
Yes.
And because the keys to another research area is how to live longer life.
That's
If
it.
you can give our elderly social outlets, opportunities to interact, they won't go through depression. They
True.
won't go through feeling like they're no longer wanted. Because when they get older, our kids become self-sufficient. They
True.
become more into their own lives.
That's
And
it.
we start feeling like, वो तो मुझे भूल गए, right?
No.
ये
बिल्कुल.
हमारे जो बुजुर्ग हैं, जो हमारे senior citizens हैं, उनको कभी नहीं भूलना, because they are the most wise, full of wisdom people we know. And they
Exactly.
are very vulnerable right now because of isolation due to the COVID-19 coronavirus. A lot of them are not having a chance to see their family, but maybe on, you know, chat or on Facebook. So it's very important to take care of our elderly people. वो तो हमारे लिए भगवान है,
बिल्कुल
और
बिल्कुल
भगवान ही रहेंगे.
बिल्कुल. क्या बात है. Thank you so much for great message, Tracy. Really appreciate your time on behalf of Dreams Television, the Aijaz Qureshi Show, myself, my entire team who helps me run this show, the co-host of my show from Islamabad, Sadaqah Naveen, from Karachi, Pakistan, Aijaz Qureshi, from Toronto area, Dr. Tahira Wan and Dr. Nishi Khan, all those friends and viewers who have watched us live on Facebook as well as on our YouTube channel, plus who have participated by commenting, liking, or will be commenting or liking and watching the show later on. Thank you so much for hopping on the show and sharing a great topic with us. Thank you. Namaskar. All right, viewers, that was Tracy Marshall, Master of Public Health, great person all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, USA. We were talking about the mental health and taboos around it and breaking down barriers. I hope you like the topic. How can we improve the show? I always try to find ways how we can bring this show towards betterment. And I'm a strong believer that there is room for improvement in everything. And I'm sure that here it is as well. We are no exception. Thank you so much for hopping on the show and being with us. Until next time with another great guest, this is your host, Aijaz Qureshi, saying goodbye. Take care of yourself and people around you.